just talking to the mic. You'll be here for about 4 hours or so, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Hive Scum. We're live at NEMO23. I'm surrounded by some of the most beautiful men in the room right now. We have Paulie Mordheim's here and Steve. They took a break from all the festivities to come join us over on this podcast. We have the wonderful Phil, the enigma wrapped in a riddle. And then we have the guest of honor, Sweet Deane.
True friend of the pod.
True friend of the pod.
If it wasn't for Pat, none of us would be here right now. Pat
true.
is the guy that carried the fire.
It is
the darkest
true.
of days.
Absolutely.
Nice. Longest course,
We're
nice.
all his children in a way.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
Should we go
He
around?
kept the
Everyone
rule book,
say
he had everything.
who they are, just real quick, so they give
Yeah.
voice to the name. You know.
Oh, that's true. I guess
No?
I probably shouldn't have introduced you guys.
Sure.
You go first,
Yeah,
Paulie.
I'm Paul, Weird Stoned on Instagram.
Oh, I'm Terry. I'm stone.jaw on Instagram.
Steve South of Heaven on Instagram.
I'm Phil. Catch me nowhere.
Catch him nowhere except for talking
I'm
way too
Pat,
close to the
also
mic.
nowhere.
Pat, also nowhere. Pat, you're not on anything? You're in the Discord.
I'm on Discord.
Catch
Sweet
him in
Deane.
the
Sweet
Discord.
Deane.
Yeah, on In Rust We Trust, which still, if you're not part of In Rust We Trust, I have no idea how
You're really
you're
fucking
here.
up.
You're really fucking up. Big time. Gage is over there. We've
Stealing money out of the cash
he's-
box.
Yeah, so we kicked him out of the podcast because he keeps stealing money out of the food cash box that we're giving to charity. Thanks, Gage. Deane's trying to give up his position. Yeah, so we're here live. There's people of all types, all ilk have come here to play Mordheim.
We got old
We've come to
heads.
the city
we got
of the
new
damned.
heads.
Gamers, music guys.
Guys just wanting to offload their collection of old Warhammer items. I bought a whole box, a copy box full of orc bits.
Green with envy when you showed me that box.
it
I
is
can't
a
believe I
beautiful
missed
box.
it. I looked in the box too and I missed it.
Right.
Well, I think I saw it. I just didn't see a price. There was no price, so I just
I
like
know.
skipped it.
I left a no early bird sign in the box, and look what happens.
Yeah,
The
right?
guy's still pulling shit out, and here comes Terry.
Oh, yeah. I was just carrying this giant box. Yeah, I went over and his wife was like, please get rid of this. Please, I don't want any of this brought home.
Should we give him an offer for everything? Like
We might
$50
have
bucks?
to. But at this point, well, I mean, now he just has a lot of old Hammer shit over there. He has a ton of old Hammer Space Marine stuff. Ton of old...
I hate to say this on the pod. I don't know if he knows what's in that box. I don't think he
Yeah.
cares either.
Yeah, I don't think he cares.
Well, if you're listening to this pod, you had a lot in your box.
Yeah.
Corner there, yeah.
We loved the way it looked. We have...
Oh, look at this guy strolling up, buying some
we
candy.
have the Wiers in attendance here. There's a dueling podcast here today at
Yeah, we're waiting for the
NEMO23.
Wires to set up right across the way there.
Yeah, we'll have Dragged
We can
into
shout
Turbo
at each
Lasers
other.
loud. Yeah, we're hoping to switch some characters throughout the two pods, so you can listen to theirs and listen to
You know
ours.
what? I'm gonna step out. Actually, I gotta go do an announcement.
Yeah, we
maybe we
figured
can
that was
swap.
gonna be the
Maybe we
vibe.
can swap someone.
Yeah,
into
just
here.
grab somebody
I'll grab
random.
someone. I'll send them over this way.
Yeah, totally. Tell them there's a seat open. Dean, so tell us about your human list, your Umis that you got here for Mordheim. Oh, Greg's on the podcast.
Yes,
now.
we have guests jumping in for Steve, Greg Wire.
Yeah, this is Greg Wier. Glad to be here. Incredible to be here.
Oh, well, hey, thanks. We were just talking about Pat Deane he's a master painter.
Sweet
I don't know
Deane.
about that.
That's the
Sweet Deane. Sweet
Sweet Deane that
man.
I've heard about on the.
You already know about Sweet Deane.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
funny.
Sweet Deane's here. So Sweet Deane, you've had your list for a long time.
Yeah.
Your Mordheim list has been in existence forever. You've never painted over it. It's always been the same paint job.
Unchanged since what year?
99.
Probably 90.
Yeah.
2000.
Oh,
yeah.
gee.
Damn.
Wow.
The Middenheimers is the one that's it's been painted the longest, but yeah. I haven't
Middenheimers, that's
touched
the wolf guys, Cult of the Wolf?
Yeah.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
the cool guys.
The cool
they're-
guys.
those are definitely
oh, they're
the
all
cool
cool.
guys.
Come
Everybody's
on.
got
I don't even remember what those models looked like.
Off the top of my head, I don't, but as a lore freak, I know Middenheim is like the Cult of Ulrich. The Cult of the Wolf is headquartered in Middenheim.
Big beards, big like wolf capes, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I feel like in the
Berserk
90s they kind of
guys.
wanted like a fantasy equivalent to Space Wolves. That I don't think it ever really popped off.
Definitely. It's their bit set is one that's like you've seen it everywhere when you've seen the models out. It's pretty cool. Nice aesthetic.
Yeah, the guys their knights instead of having lances, they have big like two-handed hammers, and they all have like
Yeah.
big beards and shit. They're sick.
So, Greg, you're here for moral support then, to support your brothers?
Yeah, moral support. I mean, like, I don't do too much painting at
No?
this point. Not too much painting. No. So I help write blog posts for Between the Bolter and Me and make
abrasive sounding noise music. But
Oh, yeah.
Boy,
Yeah.
that's
Lovely.
great. That's a good combo you got
That's
there.
right.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be some work and development from the two of us. Going forward.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
We got quite a few musicians in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got the
I'm gonna step out, let
the,
Gage
the
get in.
soundtrack
Yeah.
here provided by artist
Basilisk.
Basilisk, who
Yeah.
made a soundtrack for the event
Yes.
exclusively.
Yeah, and it's Under the Dice 001, the first release from the official Under the Dice label or whatever.
The label
you know?
that's prepared to make no money.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
That's
on,
what
baby.
labels are all
what-
about, right?
There you go.
I mean, how many releases can we get out of it before it's like, all right, it's done?
It's like one of those things you just keep kind of it's there. It
Have I
exists.
lost enough money yet?
Yeah, or it's just like, you got a friend who wants to put something out and you're like, all right, we'll put it out and slap this little logo on there and hopefully we make a buck or two. Gage is here. He's just not talking into the mic because he's mad
Hey,
at
I'm
us or something.
no, I'm just waiting for a burger for my dog. Arwen came here.
Oh,
so-
good. Dog burgers
Yeah,
here. You
you
can
know.
get your dog burgers.
You're gonna feed
here.
her a burger?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Only the finest grade meat for Mordheim players here at
Your dog's
NEMO23.
playing Mordheim?
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
love
Arwen brought her possessed warband. She's
Yeah.
got it all kit bashed up.
Arwen's
It's real
pretty
sweet.
I mean, they
Possessed in
probably
general.
play Mordheim as much as most of the people here, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Doing a little just walk around. I think almost everyone that I talked to said that they either had never played or had only played one or two other times.
But the questions have been pretty minimal. I had a couple of people be like, "Oh, okay, if my guy has a spear, do they attack first?" And I'm like, "That's an easy one." You know what I mean? There's just the questions have been super easy. It's nobody that's just like, "Wait a second, how far is my movement?" And I'm like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, man! If you can't figure this one out."
Well,
we're
with
gonna have to-
Mordheim, I feel like in most of Games Workshop games, it's like, well, I don't know what the rules are for this. Or a 4+ probably does it.
yeah, that's true.
50-50 chance. Pass fail.
Or just roll off. That's what I told the two dudes that was asking me a couple of rules questions. I was like, you know what? Honestly, if you guys run into troubles, just whatever you think the rule is and whatever he thinks the rule is, just roll off on a dice, and whoever wins, that's the rule. Because otherwise, you'll be here all day.
It used to
going
say that,
forward.
back in the old rule books. If
Yeah.
you disagree about a rule, roll off.
Yeah, I think Jervis Johnson, was that the guy who he's sort of
Yeah.
I mean, his columns in White Dwarf are some of my favorites, and most of them go along the lines of that. They're like, all right, if you don't know the rules or if you run into trouble, just talk it out, come up with something narrative.
Yeah, they used to be
roll a
very
dice.
encouraging of house rules and stuff.
I'm sure that it's hard when you kind of I don't know.
Well, they got an empire now.
Exactly, it's hard when
You got to sell some rule books.
You're not putting out the terrain building books either at this point. You're like, okay, please buy my box of.
It's like sell the next version of the Imperial Knights Codex.
Yeah, everybody can hear the din, the ambience, the YouTube playlist ambient crowded room right now. So it's kind of beautiful and nice. Makes them feel like they're part of the event. We got Good Painter. He's over there. He's in the shop, in the food shop right now. He won't join us probably.
Yeah, we got a
Slinging
couple
dogs.
fellas, slinging burgers and dogs.
Yeah, Steve just made an announcement. What's he announcing over there?
Probably that the round is almost over.
The round's almost
I
over.
would assume.
Well, how many games do you think we're going to be able to get out of this?
I believe they want to do 4 rounds, and then at the
Yeah.
end, if people still want to go, they're going to do a round with just champions.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
I-
after we have the space pretty late, so if people want to hang out and open play or just hang
Yeah.
out, that's the vibe.
Yeah, I think Steve had said 4 just like a second ago, or Paul maybe had said 4, which makes sense because you want time to walk around. I mean, it's not like a tournament where it's like you're just going to be grinding the whole time. You want time to walk around, enjoy these fucking boards. There's so many boards.
There's a lot.
And
Where are they all going to go? Like how?
Steve's garage.
Steve's garage.
Yeah, these guys
So-
have big basements. They're all
Yeah.
homeowners.
He has a house now. There's a place to sequester that all away.
I mean, it's all insulation. So yeah, you put it up in the attic. It's only gonna, you're just
Nail
adding
it to the
value.
wall,
we'll
you're good
we'll
to
need
go.
it for next year,
Yeah, keep your house warm.
So has anybody seen any standout war bands?
Chris. Yeah, I mean,
you-
Instagramless
I'm,
Chris.
I'm assuming that
Instagram.
you
Oh,
don't-
Chris, yes.
Cole's
So-
brother.
Cole, who's
Colsifer
Colsifer?
28.
So-
his brother. Chris.
Two of my favorites were I think it was like a wood elf band and a vampire war band with like a Strigoi vampire. Like if you don't know, Strigoi is it's like the real feral vampire that's just looks like a fucking animal and it's like covered in like hair and furs and stuff. That was definitely one of my favorite war bands that I saw.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And there's actually one guy playing Norskins. I don't know if anyone saw that.
Yes.
That's like the most like wild card army I think.
He was posting
that I
his
saw
progress
so far.
on the Discord of how he was painting them, and he finished them I think at 3 a.m. today. So
Just in time.
Did he post a finished picture on the Discord?
Yes, at 3 a.m. That's
Yeah, I
how
was
I know
gonna
he's
say.
a real freak, just like all of us. I forgot his name.
I know. That's a hard part. Is we've met so many people over the past like 2 days.
I just only know them by username.
Didn't say
Trey,
the username.
Basilisk.
Oh yeah.
His warband is sick.
Yes, like the
Yes.
Dark Elves or whatever
Yes.
he's
Oh
playing.
yeah,
Very cool.
Because he has in lieu of the actual models for his cold ones, he's using these I think he said they're like a Christmas themed sculpt from Gardens of Hecate.
Oh
They're like
yeah.
they're sort of like
Yes.
based on like like pagan like Christmas.
Yeah, so they have the horse skull
Yep,
heads.
yep.
Those
It's like
ones,
a horse
yep.
skull. Yeah. That's
Those are
that's his
awesome.
proxy.
Yeah.
They're very cool.
Yeah, I didn't see them originally because I had just seen the sculpts that he was using for the Dark Elves themselves or whatever. So it was
Yeah,
cool
yeah.
to see those fully out on a table and playing. Hopefully I got some good pictures, man. I'm still trying to figure out this camera, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, quite a few people with some recording gear here.
Yeah. Who are the guys with the cameras over there?
That's AV Hobbies.
All right, so AV Hobbies is here, and then Garrett's here too. But what's Garrett's deal? He has also his own YouTube channel or something, right? I don't know. His
Maybe.
boy or his guy. There's two Garretts here too.
Yes.
This
So
is like the
he
news
also,
of the
He
event.
runs that new channel, Tabletop Wizards.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah,
Yes,
Tabletop Wizards.
yes.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
AV Alex. Alex is
Yep.
his name.
Yep.
Yeah, very nice guy. Oh, you had met him down.
Yeah,
in...
yeah. He was at the Mordheim 2022 in
Yes.
Texas. That event, he was there. That's where my brothers and I first met him.
Yeah. He's super nice. I didn't know him, and he like pulled up, and without even, he like got out of his car and like ready to shake my hand, and I was like, wow, hey, nice to meet you.
draw.
Yeah, like just like the biggest smile on his face, and I was like, man, it is like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm like not ready to be like as friendly as you are right now.
He's also started to design some miniature-based games and stuff. Like
really?
he has what's it called?
Nightfall.
Nightfall. That's the
Yes,
name of.
yes.
Yeah, he just
Actually-
put out a little miniature-based rule set on Exalted Funeral. Like there's a couple copies here that
Yep.
Exalted
David
Funeral
Hoskins
sent.
hooked us up with a couple copies of that as well to give away for the raffle.
Oh shit, no way.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, like I've started to see that little rule book at a couple like hobby stores in Pennsylvania. It's like, wow, our friend Alex is really making the big world. His books, his rule books in little game stores.
yeah. I mean, it's like it's really cool, and like David Hoskins.
From is it Exalted Funeral?
Yeah, Exalted
Yep, yep,
Funeral. His warband is like really cool.
Yes.
And we were painting it last
painted
night.
It with him
Painted it
last
last
night,
night, yeah.
Yeah, so it's sort of a collaboration between a few of us painting it up before the podcast was done. Got a couple of friends of the pod walking by here. It's great. All the friends are here.
Pixel Keeper KS.
Yep. And Dakota desperately wants me on the podcast.
Dakota, come
We're going to
here.
have to throw him in at some
You
point.
gotta say a couple words. How do you feel about the event?
This event rocks, dude.
Get closer to the mic, Dakota.
Oh, I have to get super close?
Yeah,
How's
well, the
this?
fans
Is
want to
this-
hear you.
Oh, okay. All right.
The fans love you. They've been asking. They've been begging.
They've been asking who?
This is Dakota.
Hello.
Everybody.
Everybody?
The whole community.
What did you buy
I'm
there?
honored.
All the
I
scumbags.
just got this super sick pin.
Crawl
$10, Crawl Club, yeah. Yep.
Oh, that
and
is
this
cool.
is his last one. It's got like a
Oh,
little
cool.
rust.
Thanks, Dakota. Thanks for
look
just
to it.
coming over and bragging then.
Yeah, no, dude, no problem.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll
so-
flex on you guys whenever.
So what's your favorite part so far, though?
Honestly, the terrain here looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like, the terrain here is nuts.
Yeah, you did a great job. I'm just fucking around.
I'm going to go.
Oh, Dakota. Well, thanks for checking us out, bud.
No
Oh,
worries.
yeah.
Yeah, a few of the players actually brought their own boards, and there's some very, very cool terrain here. I'm a big fan of Gabe's board with the big
Yes.
resin poured.
Yes.
There's another
Nile Nelly.
Nile Nelly.
Yeah, Nile Nelly.
Yep, Nile Nelly, and then I don't know whose board that is there. That's
Yeah,
also
what's
got,
that
like,
guy's
a resin
name?
board
That's
with real
absurd.
dirty
The
looking.
beautiful
I don't
resin
know. It's
one?
beautiful.
Oh my goodness, we should have that guy come on over and just tell us about the process of like
I believe
pouring
it's
that
the guy
resin.
over there in the green shirt that's actually playing on Gabe's table right now.
Perfect.
Oh, sick.
Greg,
yeah.
I meant to ask you,
Actually, I'll go bother him.
Yeah, go
I'll ask
bother
a
him.
question.
Go get some info.
would you prefer the vibe of the other Mordheimer event at? Kind of small, nice, little niche?
Yeah.
Or do you want the New England chaos that we're experiencing right now?
I think they both have their place. I think what's particularly neat about this is it has been open to anybody who wants to come.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people don't want to be reaching out and asking if they can come to such a thing. And the notion that this was just available for everybody to sign up for, I think that was nice.
Right.
Though with the Texas event, since it was, I want to say 15 people, like it was
Yeah.
easier to talk to everybody.
For
And
sure.
like I would doubt that I'll be able to talk and introduce myself to everybody here, even though it would be cool to do so. So like it was neat to maybe get to know some of the people better since it was a little bit smaller.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so there
They
are
each
good
have their
parts
place.
to both.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like two different flavors kind of it. But it's also probably with a smaller group like that 15 people down in Texas, it's probably easier to build a narrative per game
Yeah,
and
very
kind of
much
discuss
so.
what's happening.
Right.
Where like this is, you still get that, but especially now, like currently in round 2, they're playing a multiplayer game, and so there's 4. What do they call it? Chaos in the streets? Is that it?
Yep. 4 people at a table.
4 people at a table, and so you have like, it's probably a little bit harder to come up with something narratively when you have like Skaven, undead, a group of dark elves, and then humans all playing on the same board. It's probably a little bit trickier.
You can come up with something at the end, right?
Yeah, but that's the hope. The hope is that some of these friends are like, while they're playing, coming up with narratives, but also that afterwards, while they're rolling exploration dice or whatever and finding certain things, they're like, oh, okay, I found this sword.
Terry,
off
I don't
your
want to interrupt
character.
you real quick, but Steve
Loud
just
things.
bought a garbage bag full of bits.
Oh,
from
classic
Lowe's.
Steve. You hear that? That's the sound of success. That's the sound of a good buy. Where did you get that giant? $40.
That's from the same guy you bought the
No,
tote
he
of.
had more things.
I bought all of them.
Oh, cool. Oh my goodness. He's probably getting desperate now to sell it. Well,
Hey.
yeah.
Ready to go into a closet.
Yep.
I know. That's the thing. We were just talking about it before. His wife is like, you have to take all of this stuff and get it out of here. So that makes sense that he's unloading all of that for 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my brothers and I at my parents' house we went to recently, and we're looking at our old bedroom and just pulling out stuff from underneath one of our beds. Like there's a new sealed copy of Space Hulk.
Oh,
There's
my
a copy of Dread Fleet under there. It's like all these things. Like, why do we still have these?
Oh.
You never
sealed
even
copy
opened
of,
them.
Yeah, sealed copy of Space Hulk.
Well,
not the original one. I think
Right,
it was
right.
when they re-released it with like the newer Blood Angel models, but still. And Dread Fleet, it was open, and maybe one of the ships the mold lines were trimmed off of, and that was it.
Untouched.
Yeah.
Other than that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Dreadfleet is such like a anomaly to me. I don't know why I find it so fascinating. I feel like it's probably not that fun,
I mean,
but I love that they went for a like fantasy naval combat
They
game.
went for 2.
Well,
So-
I wish when they did Dread Fleet, instead of making a new game, which the scale was a little bit bigger, I wish they just, let's redo Manowar, because that
Yeah.
was their original one.
Yeah.
I wish they just did that.
Yeah.
But instead, they made a new system, which perhaps it was even a better system. I didn't read the rules. I didn't play it. It's under a bed.
Yeah.
But
Well, maybe it'll come back. Time is
Yeah.
a flat
I mean,
circle.
do you want it?
It seems like all of their stuff all of their old games are coming back into
Yes.
rotation.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. I don't know.
This gentleman is going to come over when this round is done, so we can
Oh, good.
pester him about his
Perfect.
board. His name is Bobby.
Yeah, we'll be
Bobby.
doing a lot of pestering of random people. It's gonna
David
be amazing.
Hoskins is walking over right now.
Yeah, we're gonna put David Hoskins on
David-
on the pod.
Sorry,
Oh,
I'm in it.
Dean's
Well,
trying to get out of
Dean,
here. Oh,
Dean's like, get me out of here.
yeah, Dean is using this as an. He says he'll be
Sweet
right back.
Deane.
He'll be right back, he says.
All right, we got David Hoskins here from Exalted Funeral. How you doing today?
Doing great, man. This is awesome.
Hell yeah.
Such a good event.
Hey, if you need to adjust it so you can talk right into it, feel free. Like it turns.
Don't tell me
with
what
this
to do.
Well, or not. Or I'm gonna get my ass kicked on this freaking.
Yes.
All right. Learn my lesson. Don't say
kind
anything.
suggestion.
No, yeah, doing great. My Cult of the Possessed is not doing so hot though.
So
But they
your
look
first
great.
game, you were telling me a little about it. You want to say it for the pod? What happened?
Sure, yeah. So first game, just scrambling for that stone, and for first attack, my Possessed just got boxcarred,
Dead.
Dead.
Oh,
you
wow.
spent
then
like 120 gold on him too.
Yeah, he had a tentacle, so that's like 125
Oh,
gold
no.
crowns,
It's an expensive tentacle.
So yeah, so he goes down, and after battle, I think I rolled like a 12 or an 11, and so I just perma-death. And then,
Done for.
then this game, I tried to do a diving charge with my other Possessed onto Alex from AV Hobbies, onto his dwarves, and I was short on my charge.
Oh.
So he ended up falling.
Yep.
And then stunned or knocked down, and then his dwarves just ran up and clocked him.
Got him while he was down.
Yeah, one of my brethren took out one of his heroes, so that's at least I got a little something,
You got
a little blood
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Well, the warband looks great.
Thank you.
They
well,
came out really
I had
nice.
I had some help.
The one cultist, the guy with he's got the hood and the kind of the grill in the front. I really like
That's
the way
the best one, right?
with the
that's the best
painted
one.
rim on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
was
The one.
really
Wait a minute. Was the one you spent all night painting too?
Well,
the-
that is the one that I painted. Yeah, you're right, Gage. Wow.
The Hive Scum boys came in
Yes.
and helped me paint those up because I couldn't. Leaving Florida a little hot, so I couldn't get
Yeah.
them all painted up.
Oh,
But,
Well,
but
hey.
we cranked them out.
do you like spending a little bit of time up here? You got a little snow too.
Yeah.
It's not so bad.
I love the cooler weather.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to shovel snow, but
Yes.
man, I'll hang
Yes.
out in this. I think when I go back home, it's going to be 87 degrees or something stupid. Like it's going to be just.
You a
this-
lifelong Floridian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately. but
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
Well, you got the
but-
best death
but I
metal
get
in
around.
the world, so
I get around.
yeah.
I don't know if that is true anymore.
You don't think the best death metal in the world comes from Florida?
The best what?
Death metal? I
Death
think
metal.
it
Not
came-
anymore.
it
Not
came
anymore.
from
Not anymore. It used
Well-
like Ybor and Tampa and stuff. Like that was the mecca for
Yeah.
like Morbid Angel and all the
Yeah.
up and
The
coming.
Cannibal
Where does,
Corpse
where does death
and
metal come
children.
from now?
Yeah, where's
West,
the
probably?
where's the sick place to get
Gage.
I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of it's uprooted and it's just spread.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think,
but
I
it's
think
like
the internet obviously has sort of made different
Yes.
music subgenres less concentrated.
yeah, but hey,
You can find a damn death metal show any city in the world.
yeah, at
There
any
was a-
night.
There was like a. I
Any
don't
night.
remember where I heard where it was, but it was like an interview with Henry Rollins, and he was talking about how any city that he's been to in the world, he'll just see a flyer for a death metal, just like a local death metal band,
I love
just
that.
in fucking, in Bosnia.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, as far as the metal stuff goes, I think my buddy Garrett was showing me stuff from Japan recently, and just
Yes.
man, just a ton of good thrash and a ton of good death metal stuff.
Japan's had a random upsurge in beatdown,
Oh,
hardcore
yeah.
in
Yes.
the last 5
Yeah,
years
yeah.
or so. Yeah, real tough guy
Japan
hardcore.
loves New York hardcore.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. It's so funny. That's great.
I
So-
didn't realize that. That sounds great.
So, David, what's your most recent project? What you been doing most recently?
Well, last year I wrapped up the covers for the Old School Essentials booklets that
Yeah,
are in
beautiful.
the box sets.
Kickstarter's finally arrived.
Yeah. There's a lot of. That one wasn't so bad. That was only delayed about a month, and a lot of it had to do with international, like the T-shirts and other things being sent to the warehouses, and it tied up the fulfillment date. But
So do you answer the people screaming where their
Dude,
Kickstarter
so
is?
I was doing customer service.
Yep.
Was my original thing that I did there while I was doing freelance illustration and stuff for other games. And yeah, so I was the guy who was answering all the
Where's
emails.
my Kickstarter? I hate you.
Yeah. Is this a scam? It's like,
Yeah.
no, have you checked your Kickstarter updates? No, you haven't,
No,
because
you
the
haven't,
email
yeah.
address you entered in Backer Kit is an Apple Pay ID thing that,
Yep.
yeah,
Never went through,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's so many things. I mean, most people are actually
Regular.
really nice, and
Your phone is
we're
tweaking
lucky.
out.
We're lucky that our customer base is very everybody's really pretty cool.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Even with us growing, like the majority of people are still just awesome and understanding.
Right,
It's
right.
good. It's good.
Hell yeah. So what else? What do you have upcoming?
Up and coming. Still working on Luke Gearing's Swivers,
Yep.
which think like Lankmar meets like a little bit of that Warhammer fantasy, where you got like a little bit of the Victorian, a little bit of like it's like think like even the rich people are scumbags, you know, like pancake makeup covering up their sores, their canker sores, their wooden teeth because they brush their teeth with honey and all that crap, you know. But yeah, everybody plays basically like dirtbag criminals that are out to swindle and steal and backstab. There's rules for like there's some really gnarly like grappling rules and they're fighting dirty.
Are you doing art for the whole book?
The whole book, and that's like it's been in development for a long time with Luke and with me doing the artwork. Getting tied up with some other stuff, it slowed me down a bit, but we're finally running full tilt. So I'm sticking with that until it's done, and I'm trying not to take on anything else.
Right.
I did a couple of things, small, quick pieces for Kevin from Forbidden Psalm. Mm-hmm. He's doing the Blood Bowl version of Forbidden Psalm.
Yes.
So I did like
it. Bowl.
Yeah, or Bowl. Yeah,
New York Bowl.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And Kevin rules, and all of his stuff is great. So I did like an angry ref, and now I'm doing a mascot, which is just like they're just quick little character drawings. So I can do that and not feel too bad about not working on Swivers for like a weekend.
Right.
So one of the cool things I learned last night was that Exalted Funeral put out a herbalism like encyclopedia.
Yeah, that's Herbalist Primer.
Herbalist Primer, yeah, by Anna Urbanic.
Anna, I've always mispronounced her last name,
okay.
But double proficiency is her handle on just about everything.
Okay, cool.
So
yeah, I thought that was such a cool thing. Is that the first, or does Exalted Funeral do a lot of like non-gaming?
Yeah, like some, that actually has gameable stuff in it. Like when you flip through it, it's got it's got the plants and how they might sort of be used in a game way.
Oh yeah,
and there's also
cool.
like we made flashcards for it.
The cards are perfect.
The cards
I've used
are
them
great
twice in my Friday game.
Yes. They have. There was an adventure that was a stretch goal that you can buy separately. It should be up for general sale by the time this podcast comes out. I think it's going to be this coming Wednesday.
Yeah, the Battle Standard had a bunch, and actually while we got there, I watched someone buy the adventure. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So there's an adventure booklet, there's a notebook, there's flashcards.
Cole
there's
tried
poster.
to buy it, but it was after the register
closed. Yeah.
Well, Cole should be able to get one at least from exaltedfuneral.com coming up soon. But
is there like a maybe like a category of project that you'd like to work on? Haven't had the chance to yet.
Yeah, like getting back into the skirmish games. You know, we wanted. I want to do more with some of the games that are coming out. You know, we're talking with Alex from AV Hobbies. He does a book that we published called Nightfall.
Yep. Yeah, Greg was
we were just talking about it. I've started seeing it at stores, hobby stores in Pennsylvania and stuff.
Yeah. So
because
of our distro, you know, like brick and mortar stores have it. I was staying in Boston before I came here. Pandemonium has a ton of indie games in general, including our stuff, which is great. But yeah, no, it's cool to see all that stuff out in the wild for sure.
Old school essentials. We were talking about that during the pandemic. I was playing some Morkborg stuff, and one of those adventures, Hole in the Oak.
Yep.
We incorporated that into a Morkborg adventure, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's
I had
cool.
a good time with it.
Get that. So the guy who made Old School Essentials, Gavin, he wrote that, and it's very like Hole in the Oak is a great first adventure. You know, like even for like new players, I feel like it's just a great way to get into the hobby with new players. It hits a lot of like the tropes that you'd want to hit in a first adventure, but it's Old School Essentials, so everything's presented in a very like digestible way. So it's a great one.
Fun and funny, and maybe not thematically as grim as it should have been for playing it with Morkborg.
I mean, you could grim it up.
Yeah,
you could grime it up.
It was pretty good.
Now, how'd you get into making art? Like where did it all begin? Take us back to the beginning.
For making just art in general?
Yeah, just art in general. Did you always?
My mom was an artist, and she did art, renderings for like architecture and stuff like that.
And so you remember seeing those when you were a kid?
Yeah, and she would draw with me. And then from there, going to high school, I went to magnet school that had some art stuff, like an art program that was pretty intensive. And then from there, I went to art college, which was very expensive, and I didn't do as much as I shouldn't have. I didn't take advantage of it as much as I should have. I just kind of kept with it. And then I was doing album artwork for mainly like punk and hardcore bands. I was in Orlando at the time, so like a lot of friends up there that needed like tour posters and T-shirts and all that. So I was doing that, and then doing some gallery work as well with some paintings, and it kind of stalled out for a little bit, and then I got back into tabletop RPGs like really hard. Started going to conventions and just handing out zines of like art books and stuff that I had made. And from there, I got first gigs working for Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea, and Jarrett Crater, who is Hyperborea.
I was just I'm sorry. I feel like this is not the first time that I've interrupted you, but Hyperborea. That's that artist that I was sending you yesterday. That Soviet artist.
Yes.
That's what he was trying to depict. Hyperborea, the like.
Conan, after Atlantis sunk, before
Oh, that's very cool. That artist was great too.
Yeah.
And that's a real big focus with Astonishing Swordsman. Is like, it is very much Robert E. Howard, H.P. Lovecraft, and Clark Ashton Smith.
The classic speculative fiction.
Yeah, and it's like an AD&D sort of like rearranging retro clone, but it's its own thing. So I did that, and then Jarrett Crater, who was the project manager for EF for a while, he was also working with Melsonia, and then he got me hooked up with Acid Death Fantasy, which was a Troika book. And then it just kind of spiraled out of control, and like I just kept getting work, and pandemic hit, and then I really had to double down on it, and it just, I got lucky.
Oh, that is amazing. What do you think one of your all-time favorite projects to work on is? Or that you have worked on?
That I have worked on? Man, I've been really lucky. Doing Dark Fort that came with Merkborg. Merkborde. Ferratory. It was Merkborg started off as a solo game, was what it was originally supposed to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that Merkbore means Dark Fort. And so the game, they published that version, came with the zine, the Ferratory thing. So after playing my first game, I just posted like a screen cap on Instagram or something, and Johan Noor, the art director and kind of co-creator with Pele Nielsen, I think, just messaged me out of the blue and was like, "Hey, you want to do art for this thing?" So I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, sure." So again, lucky, just lucky.
Yeah.
I don't even know how he saw it. I don't even think he was following me. Like I maybe tagged it, like Merkborg,
Wow,
and it just,
interesting.
Man, yeah, it just put yourself out there, and just don't be a dickhead and try, and eventually the good things tend to happen. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I'm still my head's still spinning from it all, but that was really cool to work on. Island of the Plangent Mage with Don Stroud. He wrote a lot of Mothership stuff.
Yeah,
like A Pound of Flesh. That was really fun to work on. Don is awesome, and he's a real music head. So we were talking ambient, weird, because the adventure has a lot to do with sound. Yeah. So we were talking a lot like chamber music and weird stuff, and it ended up being a pretty weird adventure for Old School Essentials. I don't know, man. It's like Swivers is cool. Kind of whatever's on my table is the coolest.
Yeah.
That's a cheesy thing to say, but it's the truth, man.
I mean, it is the truth. Like anybody who creates anything, it's like what's in front of you is what you're putting your heart and soul into at that moment. So it's like, yeah, I mean, what you're making 3 months from now is going to be completely different, or
Yeah.
whatever, however long it takes you to complete.
Yeah,
a project.
and there aren't too many things that I look back on that I'm like that wasn't that cool. You know, like they've all been.
Yeah.
That's another thing that's kind of kept me in it. Is they've all been really cool.
Well, how much of the stuff that you work on have you been able to yourself get to the table and play with people, or is it now you're just
Dude, like
so much
next to nothing.
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed.
That's the curse, right? Like if you're making the games, it's harder to find time to play the games, and like a lot of the indie stuff in my personal group is the stuff that I would bring to the table and I would have to run, and like I get DM anxiety, and like I can do it, but it's tough. And our sort of eternal dungeon master buddy,
yeah,
I mean, he's like so good. So, you feel bad running him through something that is kind of choppy and not great because and I know it's kind of dumb, but you get self-conscious because he's like the master, the dungeon master.
Now, what does he do that makes him the master? Is he like, what kind of DM is he?
Yeah, so like he ran, I'm not a big 3.5 guy, but he ran like a 2.5 year 3.5 campaign that we did in Forgotten Realms, which is like, those are two things I do not care anything about. And it was just so good. Like he's good at pulling stuff on the fly.
Yeah.
He does the voices.
Yeah.
Shout out to Thor Trammell, the Eternal DM. But yeah, like just he's been doing it since he was a kid, like really young. He's been playing and he run games for his little brother. And like I've known that dude since I was in like middle school, and he's been running games like D&D, Planescape, Dark Sun, and then Vampire and Werewolf, and every time I fall back into it, we normally it'd be like 10 years later, and we meet back up, and there he is. He's ready to run something, and he does it.
And it's amazing when you meet those good DMs. You know them instantly. Like Gage just walked away, but I played one game where he led us through. I think it was Mortborg. I think he ran us through a little just one shot with it.
He said he was doing that in a little Cyborg too.
Yeah, and he's so quick with it.
Yeah.
It's like he puts everything on the player, but it feels fast paced. It feels like you're really moving through this story, and there's no time to really think. You're reacting in real time to what's going on, but he gives you enough space to do it fluidly.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, you're operating on instinct, and it's that's when you really, when you're not calculating things and when you really have to put your feet to the fire, that's when the games get weird and interesting, because it's I guess I'll do this.
But I mean, it's an art. It's some people have got it, and some people have to work hard to learn it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm a guy who's got to work hard to learn it.
Yeah.
And I'm still working on it.
Well, at least you have that great DM that you can tap into.
I can always go back, right? I can always at least get a good game in. I know
100%.
that. But
do you feel like there was a turning point? And so, sorry, I'm asking you a lot of career questions.
No,
here.
man, go for it.
So in the length that you've been making stuff, was there a point that you felt, not even necessarily, I guess, about career, but personally about your own artwork, that you felt you turned a corner, that you felt like you were oh, now I'm making shit that's truly unique to my vision?
So I'd probably say just right out the gate doing RPG stuff, I changed the entire way that I was doing work, because I started going back and looking at all, I saved some of my old books. I'd gotten rid of all my stuff at one point, and I started to reaccumulate. Dungeon Crawl Classics got me back into the game. I'm a huge fan, love it. I will always sing its praises as a great system, a great game, great art, despite what Steve says.
Yeah. Well, Steve could be a hater.
Yeah.
We've talked about this on the podcast before.
Here he
Steve
is.
was a big hater of Mordheim for a while. Oh, look at him. He's yelling at me. Yeah, Steve was a big hater of Mordheim. Absolutely despised the
Too
game.
many rules.
Now look at this guy. He's wearing the
He
shirt.
said too many rules, and now, look at him. He's got the Mordheim shirt on. Yep. Yeah, truly wrapping it.
But yeah, starting to look at more of the old pen and ink guys, Dave Trampier, and the guys that are doing the Dungeon Crawl Classic stuff, like Stefan Pogue, Peter Mullen, Doug Kovacs, Bradley McDevitt, and then also looking at Albert Drewer does the etchings where a lot of line to show value, right? Not using grays, not using value, using line to create value.
Yeah.
I started doing that with my inking, And that's sort of, and it kind of started with the very first Hyperborea piece, which is like, it's like some adventurers standing around this crystal obelisk with a demon trapped in it, and the demon's like I forget, like a rank 7 or 9 or something in the old AD&D shit, which is basically a Balrog, right?
Yeah.
So it's like this thing is trapped in the crystal, and I got all this smoke going around there, and it's all very like a lot of line, like 1 million lines.
Yeah.
So it's time consuming, but it ended up looking cool, and I just kind of ran with it.
And it speaks to that, like you're mentioning. I've always called him Durr. I don't know what.
Yeah,
the
I think
right
it's
name
Durr.
is.
I don't know.
But he was making all woodblock prints. I think when he made
there were
his work.
etchings. So
yeah.
I think it was etchings like aquatint. I don't know. It wasn't aquatints. I don't know.
But it was
I'm
like
bad at art history.
the lines were like, to create that value. It's like that was built out of necessity. Because
Exactly.
You just had but it speaks to an era. Like when you're making artwork that's based in that style with a lot of lines. It's like. That will remind people, and like so it just like it has that vibe built into it. So when people are looking at it, it gives it like a fresh sort of I don't know, feeling.
Like specifically that piece with like the knight riding the horse and like the devils kind of like up around him, like
like skeleton guy.
Yeah, that shit just rules.
Yeah, totally. Steve's shooting hoops over here. Now, Phil's trying to grab the guy who made the board, Bobby, I think. Bobby's coming over.
Dude?
Okay, so I wrangled up one of the players here. Several players brought their own boards, and there's one board in particular. It's was it like a 4x4? It's got a lot of verticality. It's got a lot of character, and I just wanted to drag the artist over here just so that we could bother him for a couple minutes, ask him some questions about his board.
All right, Bobby, have a seat with us. Bobby's got a ruler tucked into his hat, so he's an official war gamer here.
Mode, now, Bob, do you have like Instagram or
David's
anything?
walking away.
I do actually. Favorite terrain is
Favorite
my
terrain.
Instagram.
Okay.
Yep. So that's where I do all of my boards from. So there's that one's mine as well as the folding board too. So
amazing,
talk right
amazing
into
work.
that. If you need to adjust this,
absolutely. No,
I got yelled at for telling David to adjust it, so now I'm very scared to tell people.
Now we're good.
And so where'd you travel here from?
Stoughton, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay,
Not
cool.
too far.
Boston.
Local.
Yeah.
Right outside of Boston.
Awesome.
Right outside of Boston. So, man, lugging all this stuff here is just exactly what I wanted to do today. For real.
Yeah.
Like
Awesome.
it's been good to get them out and display it among people who really enjoy the hobby, and Mordheim being what people used to call a fairly dead game, I can't agree with the absolute turnout that there was today. Kudos to you guys. Fantastic job organizing this.
Thanks so much.
Coming out,
Absolutely, man.
Bringing
Anytime.
your boards, it's so helpful, and just bringing that level of character and creation, and like it's art. That's art in my mind.
That's the way I view it as well. I mean, it's definitely a labor of love. A lot of hours went into it, and they're definitely my babies. So I really enjoy them. So
You come from arts background?
I do not.
No?
No.
Dude, and it's funny because some of the greatest art that I see in this hobby is just regular ass people, no like arts education.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And,
Smash
so
the system.
Are these the only boards you've built?
Oh no, I've
No,
built
I was
going to
say it really doesn't seem like it's your first rodeo.
No, man. I actually developed these folding boards a while ago. That one right there is one of them. So it folds up to a 2x4. You can stick it under your bed, or you can stick it under your couch and just pop it open whenever you're ready to play. So, and that's definitely something I've made like quite a few of those. Sold a few of them as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. So I made a couple smaller versions of it to try and dial it in around 22 inches by 30. So it's a standard Warcry or Kill Team board. And those, again, they're up on my Instagram, quite a few of them. So,
what did you say your Instagram was again?
Favored Terrain.
Favored Terrain.
Yes.
And what's your full name? Just or like whatever you want to tell
you don't
people.
have to give.
Yeah, you don't have to give your full name.
Full name? It's your social security.
Yeah,
An address.
We've had to bleep a few things out before.
Got you, man. You guys can call me Bobby.
Bobby.
It's fine.
Bobby.
Bob, whatever, man.
Bobby, you were telling me though about your resin pour.
Yes.
So
resin is notoriously difficult.
That was a challenge for you on this board?
Definitely was. I've done a couple resin pours beforehand, but they've never had the having to have flush edges on two sides of the board. So it's like I've always had like a either carved out, so it's just pouring it into one area, not having to worry about dripping or anything. And this I had to create 3 dams, 4 dams, and just kind of go from there. So that was a bit of a struggle, but got it done. And the final result, I'm really impressed and very happy with. So,
I mean, it's great, and it's got like leaves floating in there.
I wish I was able to get. I had a whole plan for springing the leaves on the rooftops of the buildings and getting them all pushed in the corners and having all the little extra character, but I just ran out of time, man.
Oh man, but it is beautiful. Now we've been talking about damming with resin because I've seen people go crazy. They'll dam with like they'll get the plexi, they'll get the hot glue, they'll get the UV resin to seal it in. And Steve was saying that he was like, "Oh yeah, so and so just takes masking tape."
That's it.
Is that what you use?
That's
You
exactly
just use masking tape?
Frog tape.
Wow.
Yeah, man, and it worked an absolute charm. I tried it 3 different ways before. I did like I glued popsicle sticks. Never do that. I tried using packing tape once. That actually worked fairly well. And then I just used hot glue on the seam where it meets. But man, the frog tape was fantastic. No leaks, nothing. It was perfect.
Wow.
Perfect.
Now, do you play, because I know some of the guys came from Boston today, Nuno and his crowd.
Yeah, Nuno's one of my good buddies.
So do you play with them?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Arvid Ard boys?
Mm-hmm. Quite a bit. Yeah. I mean, I haven't actually played with the Ard boys themselves, but definitely play with Nuno a lot. Yeah. He and I were going to do something at ArmorCon last year. We were going to try to organize something, but it kind of ended up petering out. But I'm really glad that somebody else took the reins and really organized something that, at the scale of this, like I would have never thought in my wildest dreams. So.
What happened with ArmorCon? Because I remember I wanted to go, but to go to the event, I had to buy the ticket to the con. That was kind of expensive.
That was the biggest, I think, the biggest issue that we kind of ran into. We had quite a few people message us like, we really wish we could come, but the ticket price is kind of prohibitive, and this is going to be a multiple-day event. So, and then on top of that, it's also the hotel costs and the traveling out there. So, we started off with I think maybe 10 people, and then it just slowly dwindled down to like 2 or 3.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the hard thing about
it's the name
cons.
of the game.
Exactly right.
Like, we had over 20 people drop today, and this is still the turnout.
Yeah, I mean that's outrageous. How many did you have total beforehand?
64. And I think we have 42 or 41 right now.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, but fitting another 20 in here somewhere.
We would have had
I don't know how you would have been able to do it, honestly.
Yeah. Everything would have been multiplayer today if that's what happened.
I mean, the multiplayer worked out all right. So
I really enjoyed it. Having those the cards.
The hidden agenda?
Oh, the hidden agendas were fantastic because, I find a lot of the time in Mordheim or any skirmish game in general, you kind of get siphoned into this one style of playing where it's like, okay, we have this huge, beautiful board to play on. We both deploy on either side, and then we just bum rush each other or bum rush the weird stone and then just kick the trash out of each other. And that's it. And it doesn't incentivize exploring the actual beautiful boards. Right. Yeah. So, having something where it's like, roll a die, and when you enter into a building, this happens or something like that. So I started to try and develop something like that myself a little while ago. And
did you know of the hidden agenda prior to it?
I did not. No, okay. I didn't actually. And my buddy and I, we had been playtesting a couple different ideas for the game because it's so open-ended. I mean, there's so much that you can do with it, really. So having these hidden agendas today, though, I think really expanded the game because, the 3 of us, me and my last 2 opponents, all had drastically different goals. And it pushed us to the very edges of the board, and it made us have to think very much on our toes about who we're going to engage, if we're going to engage, where to move, where to hide, the whole 9 yards. And that's what I want.
Yeah. You don't know those cards either. Like, you don't know that they have Breakthrough or whatever, Hero Hunter. Like, you're kind of just looking at everyone like, what are you trying to do right now? And it's I love the paranoia level of it.
Yes, that's exactly what you're looking for. It's fantastic stuff. Man.
We got a new arrival to the pod jumping in. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey, my name's Eric Wier. I'm part of the Dragged into Turbo Lasers podcast and Between the Bolter and Me. But yeah, so I just played one of the multiplayer scenarios, and I got Breakthrough, and I think I may have cheated. And
he definitely cheated.
He told me what he did. He break through the whole way across. I guess we read it wrong, so I kind of went off to the corner.
I would say you didn't read it wrong. I think you misinterpreted.
Yeah.
Okay. Get to the other your opponent's board edge.
So I got to one of. Yeah, so I got to a board edge.
To a board edge.
It wasn't quite as difficult as it could have been. Sorry, guys.
Well, what's your war band you're
It
playing?
was an undead war band.
Well, then
so
there you go.
I have a lot of dire wolves, and like the vampire can run pretty far.
Oh, yeah.
So
Plus, who else but the undead player would end up slightly cheating?
Well, so
maybe a Skaven player.
Skaven player too.
I don't think there's
It
too
was
many
pretty
Skaven.
funny.
I haven't seen any.
Yeah, you scared people with your sling talk.
You know, with Paul used to write them in the Discord saying, "We'll throw you on your head if you come in here with that list." You know,
And even somebody was playing Skaven, and the other person was like, "Yeah, he's got the list," and I was like, "Oh, that motherfucker!"
Yeah, I'd kind of like to see someone play with the list. I've never experienced
I
it.
wish you'd stuck to it.
Okay.
Terry was talking about playing the list, but pretending to not know how to actually play the game.
Yeah. Just really, yeah.
Good way. Little handicap there.
Yeah. I'd like to get a game today, though. You know, we
man.
We made all these boards and we didn't even play on them.
I know, but
that's
you're
tough, man.
doing a
Is there gonna
service
be
to
like an
others.
open play towards the end, or
After it's over, we got the room till 9, so we'll be here
Very
playing
cool.
all night. So
Very cool, man.
Excellent.
I don't know I know you got a little bit of a drive. I don't know what you're doing, but we'll be here.
I was hoping to be able to get a big multiplayer
Oh,
game.
dude,
going.
we could get an 8-player, put 2 boards
God,
together.
I would
Dude,
love
that
I
would be
love
really cool.
So that'd be awesome. I'm all for it.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Do
Hopefully,
we want to get Trey in here? Should we try and sneak Trey in?
Oh man, we're sneaking
The artist of
everybody
the
in
day?
here. It is amazing.
We're sneaking you in here. You're getting in the pod.
I've literally just said, any interest in jumping?
Phil is being our
on, we
wonderful
got it right
ambassador.
here.
He just keeps going and just hassling people to bring them onto the
just gonna
pod. All the
hassle you
cool
with some
artists
questions.
and stuff.
Some questions. All
All right. We have the artist known
The
as
infamous.
Basilisk.
Yeah,
in the house.
Basilisk is
You can
here.
give us your name if you want, or you can remain anonymous.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm Trey, and I do some ambient kind of spooky stuff as Basilisk.
Trey, if you need to adjust the little lever here, you can to
No,
bring it
I'll-
closer to your face. I don't want you,
I'm
Yeah.
gonna make it lower. Let's
That way
bring
it's
it all the
like-
way down so I can-
Yeah, you can really creep goblin mode.
All right, here we go.
Serious goblin mode. He's really doing it.
This is great.
So tell us about your creation, about creating the soundtrack to the actual event.
Yeah, so I've been making ambient stuff for a long time now, mostly just pushing MIDI files around. And once I found out about the event, I just asked a weird random question like, do y'all want to have a soundtrack? And I sent some examples of stuff that I'd made in the past, and I don't know, it's just embraced by the whole crew. It's been a really lovely process.
It's hard to put it into words. Like, you sent those tracks, and I was like, oh, you get it.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
get what's going on
It's
here.
great.
Just add a little tweak to it, and you'll get that Dark Souls, like, Elden Ring vibe, and it's
Yes.
going to summarize this event to a T, and you killed it.
Yeah, and actually I got some really great feedback with the first drafts, like just to make
Perfect,
it
man.
like
I'm
kind of
good.
meld a
Great.
little bit with what y'all were doing. So that was really cool to just have a little back and forth about what you all wanted.
Yeah, and I think you captured the spirit.
Now, have you made a Basilisk release before? This is the first one that you've done under this name.
Like the releases before were me making music for my tabletop RPG games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been playing
That's how
RPGs
it
for a
works.
long time?
Yeah, I mean since I was like a way little kid.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What's your experience? Like, what have you played?
I mean, like early on, I started out with D&D, like a lot of people, and then like around college, I kind of discovered the world of like story games.
Yeah.
Like stuff that like Vincent Baker was doing. Like I was on the Forge, and then there's also like a story games forum that I was on, and that kind of really made the world of role-playing games just much broader. And
Now, when you say story games, like, what do you mean by that? Just because I don't really know, like, besides like Vampire the Masquerade or D&D or
I feel like-
Shadowrun, you know, like.
Yeah.
I feel like a while ago there was like this split in role-playing of people who were doing indie stuff, and so like one path was like the OSR world, who are like trying to recreate the older feel, the older style of the games. And then the other direction was like people who were way more interested in the narrative side of it and trying to like simulate different types of stories. So instead of the mechanics replicating what it's like to act in a world, they're replicating the tropes of different stories. So I feel like like all the PBTA games, which are basically like their moves are essentially tropes from whatever genre you're playing. I consider all those story games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you also have ambient projects too, right? I actually meant to talk to you about this last night, just to see what your ambient projects were like, how they're different than this.
I feel like I had an ambient project called Cloth. I still occasionally do stuff with that, and I don't know. It's just like sitting around making stuff just for myself, my own joy, and
that's the best too. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's the only way I know how to do it because I don't know, doing it for other people is weird.
Labor of love, man. That's what it all is. Like building boards, making music, doing it, playing games. Like
art for art's sake, man.
Yeah, art for art's sake. Yeah.
Yeah, and the tapes came out great.
Oh yeah,
so that was
the tapes were so beautiful.
First Under the Dice release. We were talking a little bit about that before too. But so we had 2 colors. You could probably buy them. You'll be able to buy them on the Big Cartel, right? No. In person only. Because we have Adepticon and Northeast Dungeon Siege coming up. I want to keep it kind of limited. It's not going to go online. You got to come out. You want it, you got to come out. Yeah,
no emails.
You have to come out to the event. It will be over by the time you heard this.
Yeah,
they're probably going to be gone. They will probably be gone today, but.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they were flying off.
I know.
The Wire Brothers bought a couple.
Bought 2 of them.
Yeah.
Each 2
we might
versions.
do a repressing. We'll see.
2 versions.
It was a lot of work getting the tapes dubbed, being 2 hours long, double cassette. Like,
no, that is a tough.
Shout out to Paul from Chained for doing that at home. You know, he did that in his living room for me just over the course of the month.
Yeah, I was talking to Greg about how it's hard to get cassettes made now. There's like a shortage or whatever. I don't know exactly the specifics of like the manufacturing of them, but
we bought like a scrap color.
Yeah,
like those were
really they're
like
perfect.
The Dungeon Rust was like a color they didn't want.
What?
And I was blown. I was like, this is everything I
exactly
want. Like, this color's great.
Yeah, ugliest color you have.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
I don't know, man. Like duplication, I think .com is the website that we used. We bought all the tapes and everything through them, but like they do a duplication service if you send them the files. But the concept of me like going from you to them and like letting them know like, hey, the tracks are in a weird order. We gotta like make it work in a 30-minute tape slot. Like I did not want to deal with that.
Yeah, duplication.ca is like that really good service. They're great, and they also promote a lot of the things that they'll do the duplication for. Then they'll post a nice picture of them up on there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they're very great service, and I go through a place in Ohio called ABC Audio, I believe, and they're also great. So there are like great pressing plant, not to get too much into production of cassettes, but there's some great services out there for people who want to put cassettes out.
It's pretty great.
Very cool.
Pretty great. And man, I've been to quite a few different events, and this is the first one I've ever been to that has its own soundtrack.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever had
fantastic,
that.
man.
Yeah.
And it captures the ambience beautifully, so really good job on that too.
Yeah. I'm really into this like idea of like something that could only exist between a certain group of people. And I feel like adding a soundtrack and all the work that's been done by all the people involved, like it's like this event is really something that is unique to the group of people involved.
Yeah.
And couldn't be replicated by any of the couldn't be replicated by GW. You couldn't replicate this by
Absolutely. Agreed.
Yeah, it's just something that's kind of magical and special just off of the interactions of the people that are involved.
No, just a bunch of freaks doing freak things.
I mean, that's why we do it too. Like, you know, it's a moment in time. It's something. Oh, dude, my girlfriend bringing me a beautiful Coke Zero.
Oh, the best soda. Sponsored by Coke Zero.
Sponsored by Coke Zero.
New
Friends of the pod,
sponsor.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, Coca-Cola. Wow, we've really made it.
Mr. Coca-Cola, thank
Mr.
you so
Coca-Cola
much.
himself.
But like you were saying, it's a time, it's a moment, it's a special thing for people involved, and like If you weren't there, you never were.
Yeah.
You know, better luck next year to show up.
Yeah, but it's never going to be this either. Like, that's the best thing about these events is like the first one is always the best one because it's like this is the catalyst. This is the event horizon. This is where it all begins.
Now think
That's
about
the precedent for it too.
Absolutely.
It's very, very nice.
But think about like us doing it out of the Dracula space 2 years ago. The first event we ever organized. Like,
there's 30 people playing Magic
in a dank warehouse in Holyoke on Canal Street. Like
5 of us kit bashing little models where most of us had never kit bashed anything
forcing
before.
a bunch of Magic players to look at them and tell us which one they like.
Tell me what you Yes. I still think I'm the only one with a painted my whole kit bash has been painted.
I painted mine from last time, but
okay. All right.
Oh no, I painted both of them. The jet bike and
oh, you did.
Yeah,
yes,
I
the
painted
jet
both
bike
of them.
was very sick.
Fancy.
Yeah, very
nice
sick.
job, guys. Hey, listen, I'm going to take
Hey,
off.
Hey,
thank
Bobby,
you for
thanks
joining us, Bob.
Thanks,
This
guys.
is amazing.
Yeah, we'll catch up with you.
Where the food queue is looking ridiculous. We are right next to the food queue and keeping an eye on everybody in there. We have TNP Matt, totally not panicking Matt. He's got an eye on us right now.
Matt, you got anything to say?
He's trying to get a veggie
You got
burger.
anything to say? Your spy is not
Sure
being
he
taken,
does.
so don't worry. We're watching your spy on the line.
Oh yeah, the guy just he got really
That's
excited.
right, he did. He moved up and he was like, "All right, what's up?
He got
I can
really
wait.
excited.
I can wait."
Get this guy some food.
Yeah,
What do you
come on,
want?
Dean. Get this.
There we go.
Wow.
Thank
This is
you.
why they call him Sweet Deane.
Yeah, absolutely,
That is why.
absolutely. Yeah, I got the sweetest.
He's the sweetest guy in the whole world.
So that's all right. I have
No,
nuts.
just fucking around.
I'm good.
Dude.
I'm good.
You're nuts.
I've
You're nuts.
got nuts.
You
I've
are.
got
We'll
nuts.
order
I am
Domino's.
nuts.
We'll order some
Oh,
Domino's.
thank God for that.
Came all the way out to Connecticut
For Domino's,
It's either
Domino's,
greasy
Red
food out of the
Robin.
kitchen or Domino's,
Yeah.
you know?
Taco Bell, it could be good.
I mean,
it was
staples.
good. Absolutely.
We'll get Taco Bell again tonight.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So what you been up to?
What have I been up to? Today I've been playing Mordheim at this wonderful Mordheim 2023 Nemo event. It's been glorious.
Steve's really hooked it up.
Absolutely has hooked it up. He's done a great job. You've hooked it up as well, Terry. Everybody came through, put it together, Basilisk. The
Yes.
music has been so crucial. It's good, extra good vibes. Everybody's being really cool.
dude,
So yeah, it's awesome. Been having a super good
It's
time.
not Project Pat, which is where we started the
I
day.
know. People were really upset about that.
Yeah, we had but we had some head nods from the Wier brothers over there. They were enjoying
They
it.
understood.
But
Yeah, they got it. Yeah, nobody else though. Yeah.
So while we got you,
Yeah, please.
tell us about Smash Bash.
All right, what are we doing? Smash Bash this year. Smash Bash 2023
The brackish
is
birth.
Brackish birth. Yep, we're birthing it brackishly. So it's going from now until not February, March, April. End of April. April 28th, I think, is the deadline for entries. There's 4 categories: one for small stuff, one for medium stuff, and one for large stuff. It's an online event. You can go to smashbash.org and find out
It's
more.
free.
It's
Free to enter,
Yeah,
win
it's free.
trophies.
There's trophies. I got prizes. I got we got so much stuff. I got Lux Thantor, who's like a dude who sculpted some stuff.
Yeah.
Got some prizes for that.
Wow.
We got new minis from Anapalancet coming out.
Not gonna
in,
lie.
like,
Gonna submit my board.
you got to do it.
I'm gonna.
You got to do
It's
it.
a swamp.
It's the
As
only-
what, like the big category?
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's very
absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely. It flies. It floats.
Now Anna's doing some prizes for it.
Anna's doing prizes
those
for it.
sculpts.
Gets
Sculpts.
bigger and better every
Bigger
year.
and better every year. We're trying, yeah.
yeah.
Hans Rodin just put together his trophy, just did the cast for it. So the
Oh,
same guy who did the
dude.
trophies from before.
It has like missile pods on it.
Missile
It
pods
looks
on it, like
crazy.
oh, it's super wild. Yeah, he's got like a weird,
What?
like twisted foot at the bottom of it. Yeah, so
Have
all
you seen
that.
it, Terry?
No.
Oh, dude, I've been following
Yeah,
it, dude.
yeah,
Every
yeah,
update,
yeah.
like, he sculpts a little bit more, puts the video up.
That's
it
right.
looks so
Yeah,
good.
he's been
so
through so
wild.
many iterations. So we got 12 trophies on offer, three for each category, finalist stuff, prizes from like everywhere. Let's do Black Sun miniatures. He gave me some busts. I got stuff from Lux. I got stuff from Warbound Wargame, which is like this Belgian dude who like makes super sweet stuff. We got the fucking who is it? Bastarium Games, Bastarium Minis. He put together
like
like
a
a free
STL with him,
SDL
right?
that you can download from him or from me. That's all I can think of off the top of my dome, but there might be more.
With Beastaria Minis, like, what was the collaboration like? Because did you do like a sculpt with him? Like, how was that?
Yeah, he just like took his he took some stuff that he had and kind of like, and he kit bashed like 3D stuff out of his stuff. So he like took a bunch of his. So he kit bashed something and like turned it into a full model that you could print. And then also gave the bits away for free, so you could like kit bash the fucking drill or whatever in the spirit of the competition. Yeah.
Now we got sneak peek look at those at the house the other day, and they are cool.
Yeah, there's some new.
Hey, you just come in, Phil.
Throw
if
it
you
in.
want.
You want to jump in?
So yeah, we got I have some other minis that I think I'm gonna sell, or that I am gonna sell, that I have available here. If you're here at Nemo and listening,
if you're listening to us, talk
talk,
that's
I
the
have
second time we've said that, because the Basculus tape you can only get here.
You can only get here.
If you're listening to this
afterwards,
it should be at
tough
AdCon.
titties.
Yeah,
it will be at AdCon, and I will have it available on the site as well.
All right,
and that's by like Lux. It's this super sweet like fish monster, or like fish night. It looks super cool.
Oh, and so you'll be at Adepticon
I'll
too?
be at Adepticon as well. We'll be in Mordheim Hallway.
Grimdark boardroom this year.
Grimdark boardroom this year. I'm teaching a couple classes which I think are sold out, but if you're going, I'm going to do DIY classes for free.
We can do a DIY class right out of the boardroom.
Yeah, right out of the
Collect it
board.
at the door,
Right out of the
get your
boardroom.
money at the door.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm not doing this Adepticon. I'm not taking
No.
anybody's money. I'm not having a class that's
It's
not
free.
sanctioned.
It's free.
I'm not doing any of that stuff.
Free attendance.
I will
we
not
are
be
actually
doing
just
any of
hanging
that.
out.
I will not be doing any of that.
I see. Yes. No, of course you wouldn't be.
Right.
That would be
that would untoward. Would not
yeah,
happen.
that would be immoral.
What's in the DIY class?
No,
if you were signing up for the suppose you were signing up for the regular class, what you would get is like a bunch of bits, and we would kind of like smash bash all the bits together, and then I kind of like give a process. I talk about how like my process for doing it, and then we all kit bash something together, so you get a model at the end of it that you just sort of like that you can take home and paint. We get painting absolutely in DIY Grimdark Hallway.
Now the intro to kit bashing class that
Yeah.
you're doing through Adepticon, you have two classes that you're doing.
Same one.
And they sold out.
Yes, they did.
Which is amazing.
That's super good. Yeah, it's super cool. It feels really good for sure.
There has to be more people going to Adepticon this year than there was last year, right?
I would imagine, because like COVID in America is just like what not happening.
Yeah.
Too bad. Too bad. So sad. You know, it's
Totally.
just like So there's like no. Yeah, so I would imagine it's just going to be like to the walls. And there were a bunch of people there last year when we were there last year.
Absolutely. Last year was
insane.
The people. I'm not saying this is not a disparaging comment. This is.
Wow.
The people in the class, I did not expect them to be taking your task.
Yes. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. I didn't know who was going to show up, but I didn't think it would be those people. But it was wonderful. It was delightful.
it was
It's
fun.
such a good time. Yeah.
And everybody seemed to be like really stoked on it. And,
Yeah,
like,
totally.
It's such
Metal
a good side
shooting
of the
across the
hobby.
room.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was really sick, and so I was mostly sitting in my seat firing pieces of sprue off
yeah.
at like Evan in front of me. Got to get the "It's what Evan."
It's what Evan shout out. It's what Evan,
it
homeboy.
happens every pod. So
That's
you have to
right.
get
That's right. You've
sneak
got
it in there
PNW
somewhere.
Pacific Northwest right here.
Yeah.
I'm your Evan proxy.
Now, I have one question
Yeah, please.
for Smash Bash. What I don't know if you went over it. I might have missed it being distracted. But what
are
are
you
the
distracted by?
categories for this year?
So there's. Oh, that's a good question. Hold on, everybody. Vamp.
Because I
for
know
a
you
minute
said you
while I
changed
look
it up a little bit this year.
Yeah, I changed it to be on. So the categories are. The theme is brackish birth.
Yep.
That means whatever it means to you.
I love
you
that.
You
Leaving
convince
it wide
us. You know,
open.
it's like grad school conferences. I don't know if anybody ever did those, or just like paper submittals, it's like there's a theme. It's called Angles and Edges. And you try to like submit your dumb paper into the Angles and Edges conference by, I don't know. So it's for all of them. And there's 3 categories. There's one for small stuff, which is stuff that basically fits in a 5x5 cube. Medium stuff, which is like a 10x10 cube, 10x10x10 cube, and then large stuff, which is anything that isn't small or medium.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 mains. And then there's an apprentices category. So if you've never kit bashed anything before or never entered a competition, you can enter that, and you'll be competing against other people who haven't done that before either.
And that's really cool. I feel like you probably get such interesting submissions into Basculus is going to go eat. Thank you so
thank
much.
you so much for coming. Thank you for the music. It's amazing. Thank you for my tape. I love it.
Yeah, so you can probably get such interesting submissions in the apprentice category.
Yeah.
Like, and it's got to be really exciting to look through those.
It is. It really is.
Just going off the
Everybody
wall.
just goes crazy for it because I think a lot of people don't realize that you can do it. You know, it's like a lot of the people that do it. Yes, I do. I do want a veggie. Yeah. Okay.
Custom food order.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. It's whatever. Like close enough. Yeah. Thank you. Hell yeah.
Sweet man right there. He's been doing some work today.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know the kitchen crew.
Kitchen crew is crucial. The coffee here is really good. I even get it in my, which I've missed, the New York coffee mug.
I don't know where those came from, but I'm very happy to see them.
I love it. I feel like I'm back in Brooklyn. You know. The apprentice stuff is really great. The stuff from everybody is honestly really great. It's really difficult to judge. So I'm glad I don't have to do it alone.
Yeah, who else is judging?
We got Anna Polancic.
Okay.
And Nikki Grillet.
Oh, wow.
Of Grillet Box fame.
What an all-star team.
Yeah, all-stars. Yeah, for sure. So we got some crushing ladies and then me.
Yeah, if you want... sorry, I should have said if you want to look this
you're
up
fine.
at all.
Yeah,
you look comfortable saying it. But yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It's super cool. It's like everybody, you know, like... Everybody comes out for it, so it's like super stays in, but you know, like so it's online. You know, I think that's like, I don't know, I'm not sure. It's interesting. It's really good. It's very exciting. I'm really excited to do it.
A question. Like, how much do you have to wonder about people like doctoring pictures, or how much does like a background play into it versus just like a black background?
I think it's you've got 5 pictures to make your mark.
Yeah.
So it's like, make your mark. You do your thing, right? And that's not hard and fast. Some people, you know, I'm like, if there's like a lot going on, you know, but it's like as a guideline, right? Because I think the most important thing about like all of the open competitions or all of like the random stuff that you do is to give people some guardrails.
Yeah.
And some people want to reach across the side of it and go, like try something just a little bit different.
Yeah.
And in general, that's fine, right?
Totally.
But something that's just like open, you know, that's just whatever you want to do is it's staring at a blank piece of paper. You can't do it, right? So like the more narrow, the better.
Yeah.
So the like what it came down to last time for last year's was just sort of like the people who hit the prompt better basically won.
Yeah.
And like all the other finalist models were, you know, like all other things being equal, they were equal, but it was like you just have to like look for something that delineates it. And so like at the very top, it's absolutely like the presentation, you know?
Yeah, how the photo presents itself.
Yeah, how the scene, or if it's just a model. For the smaller models, the presentation is usually just like a clean background is usually pretty good.
That was the hardest part, was the judging at our Kings of the Kit Bash this past year. Was you have all these models and it's like they're in front of you. It's not in a picture format. So you have full 360. There's no background. There's no anything. It's just what you got on the paper.
Totally.
It definitely changes the way you vote, I guess. Because you could make an okay model look way more dynamic in a certain setting.
Absolutely.
Like
yeah, for sure. And
like
I
nice
think,
vignette, you know.
Yeah. It's tough, you know, because like you want it to just be about the model, but you have to have a good picture of it. So it's like, you know, that's hard. That's like it's extra baggage. But since it's not in person, it's all you can really do.
And judging is so much about like you want to be like not even non-subjective, because it's fully like
it's totally subjective.
It's totally subjective. but there's a particular like sort of magic that you get when you see something.
When you
and
see
you're
it
like,
in person,
this looks really
absolutely.
And sometimes the background subconsciously is going to add a lot.
Going to add or subtract sometimes. You know, so it's like it's definitely tough.
Oof.
We have a rubric, so that which I'm gonna publish it this year, just so that it's like it's more like, I think more transparency is always better, like in terms of like basically everything, right? So like the more people you can get involved, the more you can talk about it, the more you can bring people in, the easier it is to like understand and to go like, oh, I see why this is happening, or you know, whatever, right? Like, so I'm gonna publish the rubric just so people kind of know.
Totally.
Hey, this is what I'm trying to hit, and these are like this is what's up. So
and doing that is only going to help other people to do something like that.
Be able to do it, yeah,
They'll
for
be like,
sure.
oh, okay, I need a rubric, and okay, I need some guest judges, and okay, I need these things, I need categories, whatever it is, and once I have those things, I can do it myself.
Yeah.
That's super helpful.
Right,
to
exactly.
That kind of
the kind of like the guide rails around it,
Yeah.
Because going in, I basically just went in blind, and I didn't. Like I don't know what it takes. I don't know how much effort it is. I don't know how much it costs. I don't know how much time it is. And so, yeah. So I've been thinking about talking about that. If more people want to know about like, what does it take to do this? Like what happens? How long does it take? Right? Because like once Smash Bash ends, Smash Bash begins. So it's like once it ends and it's judged, I take a week off and then I start. I start getting ready for next year. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do now, anyways. So yeah.
Now. Quick question about mini-focused question.
Yeah.
Because you have tons of projects, and you work. You kind of are a wood chipper. Like you go
totally.
through projects
100%. 100%. I do. Yeah.
In the past, like let's say year or so, has there been a project that you've worked on, like a project you've made that you felt most proud of, or that most like I don't know, like something either different or something that really hit the TNP?
Yeah.
Like on the head.
Yeah, I think I built up a warband around the Kit Bash event that you guys Under the Dice ran that I thought was like soup. I was super psyched on it when I made it. I thought it was like super cool. I really like that. I really like all the Mordheim stuff that I made.
Yeah.
The Possessed warband I think is like a big achievement for me. I think it looks really cool. I really like the way the models came out. The painting was like super cool. Building a little diorama was fun. I like making terrain the most, so I got to make a little box for that. So I think the Possessed, like, as a cohesive whole. And then I got to do a little bit more commission work this year as well, which is really nice. And I got to make, like, 10 Nurgle Marines, which I didn't get to paint, but I got to kit bash.
Nice.
Which I thought were, like, fucking sick. I was like, these things rule. I wish I could paint them, but I'm glad somebody else will paint them and play with them.
That's going to be a hard part about commission painting.
Yeah, it is, and it is. It's like the first one is tough, but then you just look at what's on your shelves and you're like, no more. I can't any. But I'm like, I have too many. So I'm just like, no more. I gotta. They have to move in a different direction than this. So
there are always more minis to paint.
There's always more minis to paint, and
there's
it's
always
like
bullshit to do.
It's like I think about all the things that I think are cool that I did, and it just sits on the shelf for 2 years.
Yeah,
and that's not cool. That's not what they're
I
for,
think it's cool.
right?
No,
I put that. Cole gave me an original Vampire Assassin from the OG Mordheim blister pack.
Yeah.
It's in the blister. That is never leaving the pack.
Well,
that is sitting on my shelf forever.
Sure, that's fair. That's cool. That is cool.
Yeah.
I agree.
Those kind of things are just like pieces of art in themselves. They have to be in the blister. You gotta leave.
You gotta leave it in the blister. You gotta leave it
There's
in
a guy
the
over there
pack.
with a bunch of blisters. I was just gonna buy them just to have the sealed blister.
He left.
Yeah.
They gave time. Yeah,
I was
he
gonna
was
buy
gone.
the rest of that stuff.
Oh, brutal! I saw you come over here with like 2 trash bags
Yeah,
worth of bits.
Oh yeah, that's mine.
That
now.
looked great. That
40
looked
bucks.
great. Yeah, $40.
$40.
Hell
I got
yeah.
it's all bits.
Hell yeah.
All bits.
Hell yeah.
Now, Matt, are you familiar with Mr. Grimdark 9 over here?
I am
We
not.
were joined by Joe.
I am not. Joe,
How do you
hi.
pronounce
How
your
you
last
doing,
name? I don't
Joe?
want to mispronounce it.
Denunzio.
Denunzio.
Joe Denunzio.
Joe Denunzio, if you want to, you can adjust this so that way it's like right in front of you.
Yeah.
Just because I know that, like, Basculus lowered it all the way down and he was in goblin mode. So
Well, yeah, I gotta go with my hunchback.
I feel like even this is at its highest level, and I'm like I'm sort of also like I wish it was a little bit higher here. And we have another special guest.
We
here,
have the
too.
chef of the house.
Hey,
Introduce
thank you,
yourself
thank
right
you.
now.
Ryan Oliver, longtime tabletop enthusiast. I'll tell you that. I heard Death Guard over there, and to be honest, I'm a big fan of Nurgle. I believe everything turns to rot, quite honestly.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
it's true.
so is he my favorite god? Yes, of course. And I'm really excited to hear about some of your kit bashes.
Thanks.
Well,
yeah.
you're a great guy to have in our
Yeah.
kitchen. Our Nurgle expert is the
Yes.
one cooking the food.
Cooking
for
it up,
everybody.
cooking it up, keeping it
He is
clean.
referred to by Paul as his Warhammer history buff.
Oh,
I wouldn't quite say it. I did commit to the Horus Heresy series. I read every
You read
book.
all of them?
I did.
What? Okay.
It could have been done in 4 books. We are still waiting at the gates of Terra if you can even see them.
I made it to 19.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was
It's,
like,
it's 37 or 38 now. Is that right?
it was
Yeah.
With the side stories, it's like I was up near the 50s.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean?
It's never gonna end. I don't think.
I got confused. I was like, what faction are we on now?
Wow. I mean, for reading all of the Horus Heresy book, you should be like kind of our guest of honor here.
Yeah, absolutely.
that's
absolutely.
That's
you did it.
crazy.
You made it through. You're the real achiever
Yeah.
here. Absolutely.
Thank you. I
Round of
committed to
applause.
it.
Those Gavin Thorpe books, you know.
Lost a part of myself in there. I'll
Yeah,
never get back the
absolutely.
cool part.
Yeah.
But I did it. You know what I mean?
A true.
I tried
room.
listening to those the Beast trilogy.
Okay.
The story is
cool
cool
as hell.
Fucking
Cool as
great. But that narrator for the audiobook, the most boring motherfucker I've ever heard
You're
talk.
not talking about Toby Longworth, are you?
Whoever narrated, English guy. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure because Toby Longworth does a lot of them, and he's really good.
This guy was not good. He was
Okay.
from England and the driest person I ever. I couldn't
I
tolerate.
can't imagine. What's the most surprising thing about the books? You've read all of them.
Cybernetica is the book. And to be
Okay.
honest, it's the Adeptus Mechanicus that has surprised me the most.
Yeah.
It's the civil war that occurs that is unreal. Like, you really choose sides at that point.
Yeah.
But you can see both. Like, I would love to see a Dark Adeptus truly done. Not
Yeah,
some
yeah,
side
yeah.
shit where they got, some junky rules.
Right.
If you're doing that, people are shifting. Like, I know right now it's hot to be Death Guard because
Sure.
they're hard as hell, which I love.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I will tell you, I'm jump chip.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like it so
Because
commercial.
they're
What do
Death
I
Guard.
do? I
They're
do
Death Guard
everything,
under
you know
there.
what I mean?
I know,
Like, I do. If I
We gotta get
have a
you
day
in
off,
here.
I don't.
We gotta get you
know
in
what I
here
mean?
playing some Mordheim next
Yeah.
time. Playing the
I
freaking
can't
Carnival of
sit still.
Chaos.
I mean,
Yeah.
I got your veggie burgers cooking.
Yeah.
This is your break right now.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you're on it. You're living it. You're living the dream.
It's the
That's
best time
cool.
of all time. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely. The
It's a
comet has
community.
struck. We're here.
That's right. That's
Where
what
do you
it's
else
about.
go? You go to church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't go get a group like this.
Yeah, that's true.
And then,
Amen,
bring it back
brother.
to Joe.
Oh,
Joe
Yeah,
has
Joe.
been here, last Charity Chiller, you were here and you were ready to rock for round 2 here. So
Yeah, I was
you know,
excited. You guys invited me back. So,
of
yeah.
course, man. The
Oh,
work
yeah.
you do is
I'll
amazing. The
stop.
fact that we have someone like you in the area, like so local,
Yeah.
putting out actual books, putting out actual content is
Yeah,
so
it's super
incredible.
cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Why don't you
yeah.
tell everybody? Maybe I don't know if you've already done it or not, but if you could tell us a little bit about like what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's old school revival D&D book basically.
Oh, very cool.
I hacked the Knave rule set, and it's grimdark. It's based in the future. It's brutal. You can roll up a character really quick because your characters die really quick. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You do like, is it like a meat grinder situation for like level 1 or whatever, level 0?
Oh, pretty
like
much
meat
like
grinder,
if you
lead
get a
meat
character
funnel?
can make it past level 1,
Yeah,
then
right,
you're doing
right,
something right.
right.
So, but yeah, that's why I made it so you can roll up a character really quick
Nice.
because.
Now you do all the art for your book.
Yeah, I
correct?
did all the art. I did about
hell yeah.
98% of the writing for the book. And,
Wow.
And I did all the art for it too. So
DIY or die right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
The
That's the
whole
way to
thing,
do
yeah,
it, man.
Absolutely.
You know,
a lot of work,
Absolutely.
yeah. And I mean, it's funny because I look at the book too, and I'm like, oh god, I should have done this. I want to change that. It's like second edition has to come out.
Yeah, perpetual tinkerer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Now, did you meet David Hoskins too, kicking around here?
No,
Of
man.
Exalted Funeral. You
No,
guys
I
should
want
link
to. I
up
definitely want to.
I'll have to
Yeah.
introduce you after this.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah,
a good dude.
for sure.
Yeah, that'd be awesome because I'm a big fan of their books. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and so you did all the illustrations in there. That's what you're saying,
Yes,
right?
yep.
How long have you been drawing?
Oh shit.
Forever?
Yeah, I started.
You can
How
swear. You
fucking
can say
dare
bad
you.
words.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah.
I will
kids.
just bleep them out,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'll swear you up and down when I'm editing. No.
It's funny because I actually started drawing probably as in kindergarten. I had a babysitter played a lot of D&D.
Oh,
nice.
And
awesome.
yeah, so to shut me up, I'd sit there and draw pictures of the old school D&D. I think it was second edition D&D. So that's where I started getting drawing from. So I've been drawing from there since. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's super sick. I actually I have to. We're like 8 minutes until the round starts, and I
Yes.
have to buy gear for my hero.
Oh, dude, do
so it's
your
been an
thing.
absolute
meeting you.
pleasure.
Yes,
thank you so
for
much,
joining
Terry,
us.
for having
This
me.
is amazing.
Thank you so
Nice
much,
meeting you.
everybody.
Good luck.
It's such a good thing. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you
Good
gotta
luck,
get your next
Godspeed.
round.
I gotta upgrade my guys.
Yeah. Hey,
Love
good
you.
luck.
Bye. Kisses.
I'm going to turn up mic 3 so you can hear Paul. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Nothing makes me happier than
Get a little announcement.
seeing Paul post on Instagram, caption "dead game," and it's a room filled with people playing
Yeah.
this game. Like
Amazing.
that makes me feel like I actually don't know the word to describe it, but it's
yeah.
like feels great.
Oh,
Feels
dude.
very like fulfilling.
Yeah, what an amazing time. This is like it's fun to see the excitement once the game starts. Like that second game when everybody went in to play the multiplayer game, and you could see the look on everybody's faces when you were like, okay, it's multiplayer time, and they all were just like diving into it. It was great.
It looked a lot more intense, though. I was sitting from my booth watching. Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody looked the first game, it was like, hey, and the second game, they were like a lot more intense.
Well, you don't know what your opponent's doing when you have these cards, and and then everyone's finding out, like, oh, wait, I get how much weird stone per round now because of like extra stuff from this. Like, people are losing their minds. Like the amount of gold crowns that are going to be kicking around all these warbands. It's going to be intense to see what people bring to the third round. Like, and just watching my board in that multiplayer game, because the first round I watched, they were playing on that upper tier on my board. They didn't really leave the big house on the hill. That multiplayer game, they were on the bridge going at it, and I didn't expect anyone to fight in that area of the map. And like watching people use the whole map, it just felt so great. Like seeing the things I worked so hard on, like being utilized by people, and like people thinking around in the box, like I'm going to use this for this, and like all the cover, and just the way they're using the lines I set in the board.
Yeah. And that's what you get when you make a board that looks really good, when it's like nicely put together, when you have those levels, like people will find creative ways to use them. And so like I think that your board is a testament to that.
I mean, it's always a cool thing once you make something, you set it free, someone always takes it and does something completely different with it, and that's what's exciting about it. So
you know, one thing that was really excellent I saw today is 4-person games. I mean, how often are you used to playing one person or your one friend that plays Mordheim? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And today it was 4 people that don't know each other, that may know each other from the computer, but they don't know each other in person, and they are in it to win it. They want the other person to perish. They want to be laughed off the board, and I love it because it's in person. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
It's great. And the boards are ridiculous today.
Oh, they're so freaking cool.
Yeah,
it's
they're
like,
really cool.
it's crazy. So you got this art book. You got Grim Dark 9.
Right.
Any other books that you've made in the past?
Most of the books I made in the past were like sketchbooks, so there'd be collections of drawings and stuff like that.
But like you published them too?
Yeah, self-published.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Now, how do you go about self-publishing something like that?
I mean, you know, you got to have your basic knowledge in like, you know, design and layout, and you know, and then it's finding a printer. That's the tricky part. Yeah, finding a printer that does, you know, the runs. You know, it's not going to make you go broke, and you can charge people a decent amount where you're not. I don't like to overcharge people, so you know, it's like I try and base the prices based on, you know, like it's fair how much I put into it versus. You know.
I mean, Grim Dark 9 is $20,
$20,
right?
Yeah.
$20 is like an amazing price point for a game, or for like a system like that. I mean, like, where else are you going to be able to buy a brand new copy of anything for $20? Any sort of game system for $20?
Yeah, I mean, originally I started off, I wanted to be like a zine.
Yeah.
And then it just started growing, especially through the pandemic. I was sitting there drawing, and then I was like, I got to have monsters in it, and I got to have the rules, I got to have the, you know, the equipment, and I was like, I got to have tables, and then, you know, it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and
And I think that it still does. It definitely has that zine feel to it, even though it's a full-on book. Like it still feels. It's like friendly enough, and it feels DIY.
Thank you.
When
I appreciate
you look through
that.
it.
I appreciate that.
That's amazing. And like the, so you were saying you've always been drawing.
Yep.
What was your introduction into like the Warhammer universe though?
Okay. This is kind of funny. So when I was in like probably 90, well, I've always been, you know, I played dabbled at D&D throughout high school and stuff like that. You had to keep it quiet in the 90s because otherwise, you know, you get beaten down if you play in the 90s. You know, but when I started college in '96, I worked at Jerry's Artorama, which is a local art store.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And across the street was the Dragon's Lair. Yeah. And
where are you from?
I actually just south of Hartford.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we used to walk across the street on my lunch break and go in the gaming store and just, you know, talk to the guy. This guy who used to sit in the back painting these awesome dioramas. That's what he did for a living. You just sit there drinking dew and painting them. So
awesome.
Just talking to him, and I was like, yeah, try it. And I bought my first Games Workshop kit I bought was actually for Necromunda. It was with the Goliaths.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, they were like, the one pose they had their hand like this and a mohawk, and they had the gun, and little plastic hit.
Do you play any Necromunda anymore?
I started getting back into it a little while ago, and then I've kind of dropped off again. But I like it. I love it. I think it's great. I like the whole, because I like the Eisenhorst series and stuff like that.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, and I like the whole inner workings, because it's like, you kind of forget when you're like playing 40K and all that it's, I know it's everything is war and and stuff like that, but there's actually societies and people living, and they're just as brutal, if not even more brutal than the war. So
I would say almost the day-to-day life of someone in the Underhive is worse existence than most of what's going on.
I'd rather be,
I'll be a frontline soldier.
I'd rather be a frontline soldier, pounding ground. Trying to stay out of the way, getting stepped on by a Titan versus working in the hives. Yeah.
Working a bone-breaking labor, probably for an extended life, because they extend your life in the 41st millennium by whatever food they're pumping you with. We're gonna make you bigger, stronger. You're gonna live 100 years of fucking hard work in the coal mines of Necromunda.
It's probably like Soylent Green too. You're probably eating your neighbor.
Oh,
dude.
It's like or it's like that bug jelly from Snowpiercer kind of shit.
Oh, that sounds kind of cool though.
Bug
if
jelly.
If you didn't have to do a crazy job, that might be cool.
Oh yeah. I mean, you get probably 3 hours of sleep every night, but that's what you get anyways.
Yeah.
So that's
just work on your noise project and then go to the coal mine after.
Yeah. So where can they buy your material? Are you sell it online?
I do sell it online. You can actually get it on Drive-Thru-RPG.
Oh yes, nice.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you just look up Grimdark 9 on Drive-Thru-RPG, and then I actually have a site for it. Joe D'Annunzio, yeah.
And it's that same price point on there too. That same $20 price point.
Same $20 price point.
I
can't beat it.
If you're listening to this and you don't go pick this up, you're crazy, because the artwork in that is worth it alone. Let alone the fact that there's an entire rule set in that. It's amazing.
I appreciate that.
Now, you also make your own sculpts and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, I had to step away. Did you go over that?
That's amazing.
Where can they find your sculpts and your
Those,
art?
unfortunately, I'm not selling online yet. I want to get there. I am actually in the works of talking to someone who does. Seeing if I could get 3D scans done, or even just taking my drawings and having someone sculpt them in a 3D program, and then making STL files available for people. So that'd be kind of cool. That's next step, because I love it if I can actually put something out there so people can get the characters and monsters from a game.
That'd be so good. Some of those monsters, you like the big bug guy that's flying and has a big stinger. Oh my god, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Before we go, those sculpts, can we see those online? Do you have Instagram or something where we can see those?
I'm not sure if I think I do have them on Instagram. Yeah, so Salty Slug.
Salty Slug, sweet.
Yeah, so that's me.
Yeah, so follow him, check out those cool sculpts, and go ahead and buy one of those amazing books, like Grimdark 9. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
Of course. And good luck with everything. You're not playing though, right?
No, I'm just enjoying. I like to play. I want to learn. I've always been a voyeur of Mordheim, but
we were talking. We're gonna get some games because he's ready to play. We'll maybe now that we got all the boards, we'll plan a game day at my house or something. We'll get the boards set up and get the gang together, get the campaign going again.
Well, thanks again. I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored. Thank you.
Thanks for checking out the podcast live from NEMO23. Hope you enjoyed that live coverage. Next up, we have a story from Andrew Carr. A bloody rebellion erupts on the industrial world of Solstice, trapping a delegation from House Ekel. A small detachment of the Marines' Errant's famed Dark Void elite are tasked to conduct a snatch operation. Consisting of grizzled Badab War veterans and a special group's first Primaris member, the squad find the situation far worse than expected. When the operation goes wrong, the team is forced to navigate through hostile territory to a secondary extraction point. However, they are being hunted by foes both old and new, including a group of Red Corsairs who harbor a grudge against the squad leader. Velasquez lowered the helmet onto his head and felt the momentary change in pressure as the void seals locked into place. Squad status overlays blinked into life along the bottom of his vision, and a small map floated to the top right corner. He moved his head from side to side to test the seal. He gave the serfs a sigil of successful connection, raising his right hand and putting his index finger to his thumb. 60 seconds until translation, droned one of the chamber servitors. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath, centering himself and forcing out the growing whine of the teleportation chamber. and the chatter over the squad's internal comms. After countless jumps, he still found the practice helpful. Each squad member had their own technique for preparing for a jump in power armor. Vespucci made attempts at humor. Cortez hummed a tune he had heard from the deck crew. Duilius checked all of his pouches, while both Cook and Leon prayed to the Emperor. Anything to prepare for the trauma of the jump. 30 seconds, coordinates are locked. Velasquez slowly exhaled, now focusing on the frantic messages originating from the delegation down in Solstice. Shield, he said. This is Errant 1. Translating now. Maintain package safety. Errant 1, he heard over the comms, the sergeant-at-arms, voice strained. This is Shield. We will keep the package safe. By the Emperor. Just as the comms channel closed, Velasquez swore he heard Baron Christos berate his bondsman for having the audacity to refer to him as a package. A smile momentarily graced the Marine's face as he reflected on the rogue trader's churlishness. At the corner of his vision, he saw Duilius shudder slightly, the hulking Primaris suppressing a laugh. 10, chimed the servitor. The Marines went still. 5. See you all planetside, brothers, called out Vespucci. Jump initiated. The teleporter went live, and the Marines were overwhelmed with the wall of sound and blinding white light. For a split second, Velasquez was in the very warp itself. Invisible fingers caressed his armor and mind, while unheard voices breathed promises of untold pleasures, glory, and power. He shut his mind to the noise, letting his decades of training take over, but behind all that, he could sense a deep malevolence, one that almost felt familiar. It was immeasurably vast and powered through the currents of the warp directly towards him and his squad, sending the voices reeling in its wake. Before it could reach them, they translated back into real space. Errant 1 translated into a large administrative office, its rockcrete floor littered with bodies. Each one was riddled with bullet holes and clothed in the red robes of the administratum. To his front, Velasquez saw half a dozen men and women in mixed dress by the main door, still reeling from the blinding flash of their jump. All were armed. Threat runes immediately flashed across his vision. Without hesitation, he drew his plasma pistol and fired. A big thank you to Andrew Carr for sending us this short story. If you have a short story that you'd like to hear on the podcast, send it over to us at hivescum@gmail.com. Thank you so much for checking out our podcast, and as always, keep it grimdark, keep it grimy, and we'll see you next time.